Hi, I'm Felicia. I'm a therapist in California, and I wanted to make a video for other therapists about how to talk to your clients about coronavirus. So, I don't know about you, but a lot of my clients are already working from home and working remotely right now. Um, and I think a lot of us therapists are wondering if we should do the same. I'm currently in my office in San Francisco. I'm not in my home. Um, at the end of last week, I sent my clients an email asking, hold on, let me turn that stuff off, asking my clients if they could to meet with me remotely this week. And a lot of them did. It wasn't that big of a stretch. A lot of my clients I already meet with remotely either on a regular basis or on a semi-regular basis for a variety of reasons. So it wasn't a huge stretch for a lot of people. There were a few folks who did really still want to come in person, and so I allowed for that. But as the days have gone by this week, it seems more and more important to be limiting contact with people, which is, obviously really disappointing and sad. Um, a lot of us who are relatively healthy, it seems that this virus isn't likely to be fatal for folks in that group, but for people who are immunocompromised or are part of vulnerable populations, this is obviously really not safe for them. And though, I personally, am unlikely to die as a result of contracting this virus, it feels important to not spread it to other folks. And so I'm wanting to take that really seriously. I mean, we are all in this together right now. So anyway, I wrote an email to my clients asking if they can meet remotely, and many people did. I've been having a conversation with all of my clients this week about how coronavirus might be impacting our therapy. And so I just wanted to share with you what my spiel has been in the case that it's helpful for you. So what I've said to my clients in our sessions this week is I'd like to participate in limiting the spread of the disease. Though, many of us are not likely to die as a result of contracting this, it's important to limit the spread. Furthermore, if I were to become sick, it wouldn't just be you that would not be able to receive weekly therapy, but it would be my entire caseload. And that would mean a lot of people are not receiving the support and care that they are used to receiving, and that's important for their mental health. So I want to make sure that you and the rest of the people on my caseload are able to continue to have access to therapy, especially during this time when stress is high and things are really challenging right now, and things are just changing every day. So that's one of the reasons for it. The other reason is that I am a one-woman show, and as my boss and my employee, it's important for me to keep myself safe. And also a reminder that my cancellation policy is still in effect. And for those of you who are not my clients, which is all of you, my cancellation policy is I require a week's notice. And I limit the number of sessions that people can cancel over the course of a calendar year. And so what I say to people is, we are committing to weekly therapy together, and my policy was created to reinforce that commitment and to really make sure that we're on the same page. The other reason for my cancellation policy being the way it is to create some stability on my end. Because as a one-person business, it's important for me to create something that's sustainable for me, that allows me to keep my doors open and keep on providing the services that you and other folks need. And so in order to do that, I've created a system that will help maintain some stability in my practice amidst things that would otherwise be very chaotic. And I've never had to operate in a pandemic before. None of us who are alive right now have, except for folks in some other countries who experienced some previous virus outbreaks, those folks aside. None of us have ever had to operate our businesses or our lives in the midst of a pandemic like this. And so we're figuring it out as we go. So that's the conversation I've been having with my clients, and I share, I know these things can be really evocative, moving to remote therapy, continuing to have the cancellation policy. Understand that that can be impactful, and I want to make sure that we have the opportunity to talk about it. I'm really open to hearing any of your concerns or questions or thoughts around this. And I found that largely my clients have been very receptive. Again, like I said, a lot of them are already not going to their offices, so this is kind of like I figured this would happen. And some people are not really that concerned about the virus overall and are kind of like, yeah, sort of like whatever, all the way to people who are taking it incredibly seriously and are like, yes, I'm staying home. I'm super limiting my contact with people. I'm so glad that you're doing that too. There's this whole range of way folks are relating to it. And I think as therapists, as professionals who are providing support to people during this time, it's really important for us to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And a lot of us are solo business operators, and we're people. We go into this profession because we're caring and supportive individuals. We like caring for other people, and sometimes that can be coupled with us being people who have a harder time taking care of ourselves. And right now, it's so important that we're doing that. It's crucial that we're doing this, and I think it's also a really beautiful thing to model for our clients. That said, remote therapy isn't going to be appropriate for every client. It's important that we're not providing teletherapy when folks are experiencing crisis, although I do wonder, because of the nature of this global crisis, if from an ethical perspective, it's not as if someone can't. If all therapists are saying, I can't see you in person, and someone is experiencing acute crisis, of course, like generally speaking, we want that person in-person therapy. But if there's like this absence of therapists who are providing in-person therapy, then to say, oh, I can't work with you because you're experiencing this, I don't know if that really makes sense. I'm not the person to make that call. I think that would be like an interesting question to ask CAMFT about. But I think we need to be making strategic, responsible calls about how we're providing therapy to our clients. I work with a child in my practice, and it's not always, that they may or may not have different comfort levels with different ways of communicating. So with most of my clients, I'm doing video chats. But in some cases, I might offer texting. Like maybe for someone on my caseload, texting would be better. That's not my preferred way of operating. But at the same time, it's like I want people to be able to get their support in a way that makes sense for them. And withdrawing support right now doesn't seem ethically appropriate to our clients. I think we need to do our best to continue to meet them where they're at, while always keeping their mental and physical safety paramount. And yeah, if you're a member of CAMPT, then I think that's probably a great resource to call and get into like the little nuances of like, is this an okay way to provide care? I think things are changing really rapidly, and in an ideal situation, we'd be meeting with our clients in person and we'd be right there. But when that's no longer possible, it's like, if the alternative is withdraw care or provide care in another way, then my thought is provide care in another way is the better option. That's my 2 cents. Stay safe out there, people. Thank you for listening.